Hi, welcome to my video on the order of operations on complex numbers. So the order of operations is very important in math. It works with integers, polynomials, radicals. So we're also going to use the order of operations on the complex numbers. The order of operations, we're going to obey what we call Pemdas or BEDMAS, and that is P is for parentheses, B is for brackets, E is for exponents, and then we do M and D left to right, and we do addition, subtraction, whatever comes first from left to right, and that's the order. That's P is for parentheses or brackets, E is for do exponents, multiplication, division, left to right, addition, subtraction, left to right. And this is what I'm going to illustrate here, because the order of operations is extremely important in working out the math correctly. Simplify each as A plus BI. So notice we have PEMDAS, P, E, M, D, A, S. So we have to do inside the brackets first. So these cannot be simplified. 3 minus 4i and a negative 1 plus 3i can't be simplified. We have no exponents or powers, so we have to multiply and divide next. So we'll multiply these two, and then we'll multiply these two. So 2 times 3 is 6, minus 2 times negative 4i, negative 8i. A positive 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. And 4 times 3i is a plus 12i. So multiplication, division is done left to right. Now we have to add and subtract. Let's group our like terms together, which is the real parts, and the i's are the imaginary parts. Notice I didn't change the signs because I'm not moving across the equal sign. 6 minus 4 is 2. Negative 8i plus 12i is 4i. So A plus BI, A is the real part 2, imaginary part is 4i. B, again I'm going to write down PEMDAS, stress this quite often. And so I have inside the brackets, can't simplify, nope. So that's gone. We have to do the exponents. So I will do the exponent or power first. So we have a negative 3i times negative 3i. So that gives us, I'm just writing this down again. I'm only doing the exponent first. So that gives us a 9i squared. And so I'm still working on that power. So 9i squared is negative 1, so 9 times negative 1 is a negative 9. Now, after I have the power exponent gone, I have to do multiplication, division, left to right. There's a multiplication here, so I have to go 4 times 5i squared minus 9. And that's, oh, I forgot the square. And the I squared is negative 1. So 20 times negative 1 is negative 20 minus 9. And that gives me negative 29. So again, after I did the multiplication and after I simplified, I only have an addition subtraction from left to right. C, again I'm going to write down PEMDAS, P-E-M, and I'm writing it down for you, but if you know what it is, excellent. We have to work the inside the brackets, done. This is fully simplified, this is simplified. We have no power of any of these terms, so now we have to do multiplication, division from left to right. Notice there's a multiplication here, so I have to do this multiplication first. So here we go. So let's do this. And because I have a binomial times a binomial, I'm going to do 12. First, 2. Outside, negative 2i. Inside, negative 3i. Last, a positive 3i squared. And because I multiply those, I'm going to simplify this fully before I add on this one. So this gives me a 2. Negative 2i minus 3i is a negative 5i. And 3 times 3i squared is negative 1, so that gives me negative 3. And again, I'm simplify this multiplication completely. That gives me, I'm adding the reals together, so 2 negative 3 is negative 1 minus 5i. So I did the multiplication here fully simplified now. Now I'll add these together. And when you add, you don't change the sign. So 9 minus 5i minus 1 minus 5i. And I can group my like terms, which is the reals, and imaginary, group them together. So 9 minus 1 is 8. Negative 5i, subtract 5i is negative 10i. And again, you don't have, if you know what you're doing, you could just say 9 subtract 1 is 8, and negative 5i is negative 10i, without grouping them. And I'm grouping them to show you every step, to make sure you do things right. And more practice. So we got 4 more to do on this page. Simplify as a plus bi. So if you want, write down the problem, work it out, pause the video, work it out, press play. When you see the answer, do the next one. Pause the video, work it out, press play, and do one at a time to see if you're okay. Here we go. Pemdas. P-E-M-D-A-S. Inside the brackets, can't simplify. They're already on like terms. Can't simplify. There's no exponents. So I have to multiply first. So I multiply these two, and then multiply these two. So that's negative 3 plus 6i. 5 times 2 is 10 plus 5i. Group like terms. So I'm putting the reals together and the imaginaries together. So that gives me a 7 plus 11i. And a plus bi form. The real part is 7. The imaginary part is 11i. And P-E-M-D-A-S. Inside the brackets, can't be added. Can't. They're on like terms, so the inside is okay. No exponents. It's gone. So I have to multiply and divide from left to right. So I have to multiply these two and multiply these two. And we leave to add to last. So here we go. So I get 3i times 6 is 18i. 3i times negative I is a negative 3i squared. And I have to multiply all these by FOIL. These are two binomials. So I could put brackets around this and then do this one. And then I'm going to add these after. So FOIL is first 2, outside negative 3i, inside negative 12i, and last is negative 6i, negative 3i is a positive 18i squared. Now, we can simplify these inside the bracket. So let's, this 18i, negative 3i squared is negative 1, so that's a plus 3. And we got a 2, negative 3, negative 12 is negative 15i. We add the two of these together because they're like terms. And then 18 times negative 1i squared is negative 1, so that's negative 18. And again, let's keep going. And remember, I have to simplify this, add the like terms together. So 2, negative 18, I could write them down, but since 2 minus 18 is negative 16, subtract 15i. Now we're adding, so let's group the like terms together. So when I add, I don't change the signs. So if I could, I would put the real parts, which is 3, and negative 16, and I got an 18i, and I got a minus 15i. add the real parts, I get negative 13. And I add the imaginary parts, I get a plus 3i. So, again, obey Pemdas. And number 3, Pemdas again, P-E-M-D-A-S. Inside this bracket is simplified. This is already simplified. Simplified. This is simplified. I can't subtract. So I can't do anything inside the brackets. So I have to do the exponents first. So let's take our time. And I have to work out this exponent. So this is a negative, that's a negative 4i times negative 4i. And again, I'm only working out the exponent. So notice, I'm only working out the exponent. So when I multiply this, I will get, that's a negative. So that product right there is plus 16i squared. And again, I'm finishing off. I'm finishing off this. So that's 16. And I squared is negative 1. So 16 times negative 1 is a negative 16. So I did all this work just to do that power. Now you could have gone up here and said negative 4i times negative 4i and worked out all of that by getting 16i squared, which gives you negative 16. So you could have cut all these steps out here by squaring that and putting in just a negative 16 there and omitting all of these steps, writing it down. Now I have to multiply. So we have the multiplication division, so I have to multiply. No divide. So I multiply, I get a negative 8i minus negative 16. Multiply, I get a positive 3i minus I squared. I have to multiply these two and these two before I subtract. So let's simplify. That's okay. Now that's a plus 16. That's 3i, and that's a negative I squared, which is a negative of a negative 1. So I squared is negative 1, so negative of a negative 1 is a plus 1. So that means I group my real numbers together, so 16 plus 1 minus 8i plus 3i, and that gives me a 17 minus 5i. Again, I could have went from here right to here by adding a 16 and 1 to get 17, and adding negative 8i and 3i to get negative 5i. But if I get used to grouping them together, then I won't make a mistake. And number 4, Pemdas, P-E-M-D-A-S. Inside the brackets can't be subtracted. Inside of this bracket you can't subtract. So I have to do these powers first. So I got to go 1 minus 2i, 1 minus 2i, subtract 3 plus 4i times 3 plus 4i. So remember, I can't do inside of here because they're not like terms. I can't simplify here because they're not like terms. So I'm now doing my powers. So I'm working out these powers first. So here comes the powers. So I'm going to work this out minus this. So I'm working out these powers first. So 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times negative 2, negative 2i. Negative 2i times 1, negative 2i. Negative 2i times negative 2i is a positive 4i squared. Now I have to multiply these two. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4i is 12i. 4i times 3 is 12i. And 4i times 4i is a positive 16i squared. So I'm going to simplify the inside of each of these before I subtract. So let's see what we have. 1 negative 2i is a negative 4i. And that's a negative 1. I squared is negative 1. So 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. So that's a 9 plus 24i. 16 times negative 1, I squared is negative 1, is negative 16. Let's simplify the inside of this first before we subtract. So 1 subtract 4 is negative 3 minus 4i. 9 subtract 16 is negative 7 plus 24i. Now, since I have my squaring all done, power is done, and there's no, after I finish squaring all this out and simplifying it to here, there's no multiplication division if there's only a subtraction. So now I'm going to subtract. So when I subtract, I add on the opposites. So negative 3 minus 4i. When I subtract negative 7, it makes it a plus 7. And subtract 24 makes it negative 24. Because when you subtract, you change all of these signs, these two signs, to opposites. Make that a positive, make that a minus. Another way also to do that is to put a 1 here and a 1 here. So multiply 1 by these two. There it is. Multiply negative 1. Negative 1 times negative 7 is 7. Negative 1 times 24, negative 24i. Now add up like terms. So I could right away, if I want, go like terms. 3 and 7 is a negative 3 add on 7 is 4. And a negative 4 and negative 24 is negative 28. I could do it right away like that. But if you want to group them to keep like terms together, go for it. It's your choice. So I grouped the real numbers together, I grouped the imaginary together, and then I added them. And I got this. So if you wanted to avoid this step, just add up your like terms and put them in the A plus BI form. So that's doing the order of operations on the complex numbers. Very important to follow Pemdas. No matter what you do to simplify, you have to follow Pemdas, the order of operations. If you like my video, click the like button, the subscribe button, notification bell, because there's more videos coming your way. And visit my math website, www.mathfullyexplained.com, to find more information about me, my videos, and the content. And that's the content that's on my YouTube channel called Math Fully Explained. Thank you for viewing my video. Bye-bye.